I think a lot of the league's becoming higher and higher on
Pretty
JJ
high on JJ
McCarthy.
McCarthy.
Let me talk about JJ before we get into the film too. Guy's a winner, right? If you're looking for one word to describe JJ McCarthy, he's a winner. Won in high school at two different high schools. As a starter at Michigan, lost one football game. Biggest rival in sports, he goes 3-0. Takes Michigan back to the promised land, wins the national championship, which they have been talking about and trying to do. And Michigan fans have been complaining and arguing with each other about coaches and quarterbacks and for years. And he brings them back. In his short little stint at Michigan, he brings them back to the glory and brings them back to the pinnacle of college football. The guy is a winner. He's a leader. The way he carries himself, everybody talks highly of this kid. He's so mature beyond his years, and I think that that benefits him greatly in this draft. A lot of these guys, Penix, Bo Nix, I mean, even Drake May and Caleb Williams, they're older than him. They're 23, they're 24, they're 25. I think Bo Nix is gonna turn 26 for God's sake, right? So JJ's 20 years old. JJ is gonna turn 21 this year. He's a baby, man. He's still a project in terms of how you can mold him, but he's so ahead of his years mentally and emotionally, and obviously his play. He didn't really get to showcase as often his playmaking ability as some of these other guys. But you're going to watch the film and you're going to see some of the stuff he does isn't much different than what you see Drake May and Caleb Williams do. He just didn't do it as much, and he wasn't asked to do it to win games. So when his back's against the wall, JJ in many moments made plays like those guys, but he just didn't do it on a regular basis because Michigan didn't need to. So I
Yeah.
don't think you fault him for being on a better overall football team with a better system for him to win games because he won a hell of a lot more than these other quarterbacks we're talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, and I know I mentioned the Broncos here, but really any team with a strong run game is going to be a great fit for NFL fit for McCarthy because of what you're saying. Like he clearly was incredibly comfortable, capable, and in control of the situation in Michigan because of the fact that Penn State game happens and screw it, we're going to hand the ball off 30 times in a row. Why not? Right? They had the capability to do that. Obviously, you're not going to see that in the NFL, but because of that, every single time, like you said, Mark, back against the wall, had to make a play, had to throw a deep ball, had to do something smart, had to scramble. He always showcased his ability to do that when the time called for it. And like I said, maybe a little more risks, right? You have 2 years of film rather than 5 or 6 years from some of these guys, which is crazy to say, but thanks, I guess, COVID and transfer situation for that. But every time that you watch this dude take the field, there's those same flashes. So we'll get into the film here, and I think Mark put together some great film for making that argument.
So this is, national championship, biggest stage you can get on, right? They go with a heavy personnel, true play action. You see Washington's defense step up. The anticipation and understanding, if you watch the safety, he comes down and then he gets back into his zone and he turns his back. You're going to see JJ do this a couple times. The defender turns his back to JJ. When you see the back of someone's head, you can throw that thing with anticipation knowing that he's not going to make the play. So he puts this thing right outside number 7, the safety's ear hole, knowing that he's not going to turn around and make a play and knowing that Roman Wilson, the primary on this play, is going to run right into that vacancy. The anticipation and placement of this is next level. So people can slander JJ all they want. This is a Sunday throw in the biggest stage in college football with the entire world watching. And this is early in the game. Washington's playing you tight, and he comes out and makes this throw to help move the chains. I think this was on the very first drive of the game. Very similar play here in just as big of a game, the game, Ohio State, right? This is for everything. This is to go to the Big Ten title game. This is to have a chance to go to the playoff. For everything Michigan ever wanted, and JJ made a promise and said, we're going to get you back, he had to win this football game to do it. The pressure could not be higher, right? Same thing. Defender turns his back to JJ. He sees this happening, throws the ball right off his ear hole to Roman Wilson. Between two defenders, though, it's just a little bit tighter coverage from the guy who's chasing him across the field. But it's a more impressive throw, but it's just as big of a moment, and he does it. This is now 2 times you're seeing it happen. In the 2 biggest games probably of his career so far, these are the kinds of plays he makes at pivotal moments. Crazy. So you can't argue. You can't argue with stuff like that.
I think play extension is a very underrated part of what people talk about in reference to him as a quarterback.
it'll get overlooked because of how good Caleb and Drake May are at extending plays and big arm plays, off script
Right.
plays. JJ, in his rare needs to go off script, is spectacular. Okay, he is just as athletic as anybody in this draft with his legs, and he has just as big of a rocket arm as anybody in this leg, except maybe Drake May. But this is ridiculous. Rolling left, torques his body, throws it on the back line of the end zone here against Nebraska. Late throw right before he gets to the line of scrimmage. He's very athletic, and he's very, very aware of where defenders are going as he extends plays. He's very smart. He understands what they're doing down the field, and he knows where he needs to put the ball in a safe way. He doesn't make many mistakes. I mean, you're looking at this is a guy who had a 70% completion percentage. Part of that, yeah, because they had a great run game and a great play action game, and it made it easier for him. But part of it, 70% is 70%. Okay, led the country in completion percentage last year.
Last one here.
Now this is more of like, okay, this is like an NFL, like we got to get it, red zone. There's no play action. They know you're throwing the ball. He gets a cover 2 look here where the corner jumps the out route. Okay, he's reading this low, high, low. Okay, so he checks this bottom receiver here on the 10-yard line, sees the corner coming up, and throws an absolute laser to beat the corner, cover 2 corner who can't get underneath that route. If he doesn't throw this thing with this velocity and this accuracy, it's picked off or tipped or incomplete. And again, you're talking about the red zone. You want points. This is a special throw from the left hash to the right numbers.
Crazy. I'm trying to pull up too, just because it wasn't in here, but I'm sure anybody that has been watching football is going to know which play I'm referencing. Alabama, the whole flea flicker, whatever situation, or McCarthy. If he doesn't make that, just talk about that's not even off script. I guess that's just, hey, things did not go as planned and you have to make a play there. Really, in that situation, he had to make a play to get to the national championship. Sorry that we can't find the film on it right away, but that's just one of the most memorable plays to me because he has to make a play to get the ball in his hands, is able to do that, sets his feet, and then just launches that thing downfield for a completion. I think his athletic ability is very underrated. His throwing ability is super underrated. And you're talking about a guy that was, in a Harbaugh system, not like the easiest, most simplistic system on the face of the earth offensively. Obviously, completely there, from a mental capability. One of the youngest guys, and he's incredibly mature.
John, what box does this kid not check? And
Right.
if for people that talk about okay, was his back really ever against the wall? Michigan was always the best team all year long. They have the best, they have the most combine invites in NFL history this year. He had a great roster, great defense, great running game. All he had to do was hand the ball. Did anybody not watch their back against the wall have to drive 98 yards to force overtime against Alabama in the Rose Bowl? That wasn't running the ball. That was J.J. McCarthy being J.J. McCarthy, leading his team, a team of destiny, giving them a chance to go. Because that game did not look likely that Michigan was going to find a way to win. It just didn't. You have the ball on the 2-yard line. You have to drive the entire field against Alabama and a Nick Saban coach defense to give yourself a chance in overtime. And he did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's as high as pressure as you're going to find. And he checks every box to me, and his stock is only going to continue to rise as this whole draft season happens because, like we said, not as much film, but the stuff you do see, he's the most consistent winner in this draft, and it's not close.
Yeah, and again, I've said this multiple times throughout the show and people talking about JJ, I think it's really important to remember sustainable success in the NFL is not built purely on a quarterback's ability to scramble or make athletic plays or things like that. They're incredibly valuable. Do not, misunderstand what I'm saying. Patrick Mahomes' ability to go off script and to scramble and do those things absolutely adds a ton to what Casey is able to do offensively. Caleb Williams being able to do that is going to add a ton to wherever he goes offensively. But if you just have a guy that's really damn good at doing his job behind a strong offensive line and a good run game, which there's a lot of teams in the NFL where that's their core, that's their foundation, that could be your guy, right? And so again, I think evaluating quarterbacks is one of the hardest things to do. Pre-draft, like it's the thing that people I think hit on the least, that people are maybe shooting in the dark on the most, and there's a plethora of reasons for that. But I think one of them that is super underrated is, how does this particular talent, this particular quarterback fit with this particular team, scheme, personnel, all of that stuff. It matters a ton. JJ McCarthy might not be the right guy for 15 NFL teams, and maybe looks not great with those 15 NFL teams if you were to be drafted by them. And there's another number of NFL teams where it's the exact opposite, that he's a superstar in the making, franchise quarterback, just because of the infrastructure around him. And that goes for Williams, May. We're about to talk about Penix. It matters for all these guys, and that's incredibly important to remember.